Colorado attorney Jenna Ellis pleads guilty to a felony for election rigging lies, turning on the former president who wouldn't pay her legal bills. I'll have a word about the big lie finally having consequences for the people responsible. An outdoor education center offers up an up-close look at the wildfire that nearly wiped it off the map.
We also want to be part of the solution of trying to understand these fast-moving and massive fires.
Colorado's newest chefs are overcoming homelessness or a stint in prison or another barrier to finding work. Their big dream is a restaurant of their own. And tonight, we say goodbye to one of our own, co-creator of this program, a woman who has kept us connected, you and me, for the last 7 years. That's tonight on Next. The Coloradan at the center of pushing Donald Trump's election rigging lies makes a surprise plea deal and turns on him. Jenna Ellis is now a convicted felon for her election rigging lies, and she's now a witness for the prosecution against the former president.
If I knew then what I know now, I would have declined to represent Donald Trump in these post-election challenges. I look back on this whole experience with deep remorse.
What Jenna Ellis knows now is that she would get caught, get indicted for trying to overthrow an election with lies, get abandoned by Donald Trump, who refused to pay her legal bills, and that she'd be left only with tearful excuses and apologies as she took a plea deal to a single felony charge.
What I did not do but should have done, Honor, was to make sure that the facts the other lawyers alleged to be true were in fact true.
Ellis now has to self-report her felony conviction to the judicial group in Colorado that oversees attorneys. She won't automatically be disbarred. She already admitted to them previously that she lied about election rigging, and she was only censured. Until recently, Ellis was a fellow at Colorado Christian University, where she used to teach. Today, they told me that they ended that program a few weeks ago. They would not say if the fellow who is facing a felony indictment had something to do with that. The lawsuit to keep Donald Trump off the 2024 ballot in Colorado is headed to trial next week. A judge has repeatedly dismissed efforts to have that case thrown out. So there are 6 Republican and unaffiliated voters working with a liberal group out of Washington, D.C., because they want Democratic Secretary of State Jena Griswold to deem Trump ineligible for office. This is a real long shot. It's based on a 14th Amendment clause banning candidates from running for office if they aid in or engage in an insurrection. The Colorado GOP is fighting this lawsuit alongside the Trump team, says that the party will not hold a primary if Trump is not on the primary ballot. Elections have consequences, the saying goes. Election lies have consequences too. Newly convicted felon Jenna Ellis found that out today. But the election rigging lies pushed by the Trump attorney from Colorado and all her allies have had consequences for a lot of other Americans for years, innocent Americans. Consequences for the election workers threatened and harassed, now hunkering down in fortified offices as protection from extremists. Consequences for the Capitol law enforcement officers attacked by a mob whipped up by clumsy, obvious lies. Consequences for Republicans who are forced to either bend the knee to the big lie or find themselves sidelined by their own party. Consequences for the countless families strained and torn apart by those false claims. Families that might not gather for the holidays because of a fantasy invented by a campaign that could not handle losing. Election lies have long had consequences for people who did not deserve that. And maybe, now, some consequences for the liars, too. Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman says city leaders talking about the Israel-Hamas conflict was such a waste of time, he wants to stop it from happening again.
What a horrible waste of time this is. We are not this Congress of the United States.
The former Republican congressman turned Aurora mayor tried to shut down a heated city council meeting last night where they were debating and also getting an earful from the public on a fellow conservatives resolution in support of Israel. Kaufman eventually supported the resolution. It passed 6-4. Kaufman said today that is not what local government should be doing. He plans to introduce a rule next week that would ban resolutions on non-local issues. It will be interesting to see how the city of Aurora defines non-local in Colorado's most diverse city, home to immigrants and refugees from around the world. When a wildfire tore through an outdoor education school in Boulder County, it changed the landscape, and it changed the classes they teach. Our Mark Salinger takes us to a school that now offers lessons on the day that it was nearly destroyed.
In the mountains above Boulder County, wildlife wanders into the classroom.
This is the sound of Calwood, nature and kids.
At the Calwood Education Center, the learning happens outside.
This is our outdoor classroom. This is what I see.
In October of 2020, everything changed when the Calwood fire burned half of the center's 1,200 acres. It destroyed 26 homes outside of Boulder. The fire changed the school. So Rafael Salgado changed the curriculum.
Now we teach about all this, about fire ecology, what a fire does, and how do we prevent fires, also how to mitigate, and how to restore a fire.
How does fire spread? Can fire travel up?
More than 5,000 students every year from across the Front Range come to Calwood for a couple of days at a time. Instead of just talking about all those burned trees,
We're talking about fire behavior.
they learn about them.
So it's amazing that we switched from just teaching about connecting kids to nature to understanding fire ecology.
Higher elevation.
When people come here actually see where the fire happened and what it burned, and they see it with their own eyes, they will understand better, what fire is and fire ecology.
Students run research projects. Volunteers help plant new trees. Fire departments even train on the land.
Because we also want to be part of the solution of trying to understand these fast-moving and massive fires, right?
When nature changes, the learning changes with it.
This is our classroom. This is our outdoor classroom that burned, so it was really heartbreaking to watch that.
Recovery is slow. While it could take decades for the forest to grow back, it's also taken a long time for the homes that were destroyed to be rebuilt. Of the 26 homes that burned down, only 3 have been issued a certificate of occupancy so far, meaning that someone is actually allowed to live there. So in 3 years, only 3 homes, Kyle, are at that stage right now.
And in terms of education, they want it to be a learning space for all kinds of folks.
Yeah, right after the fire, they invited scientists to come in and say, do your testing here. Do your research on wildfires here. Let's make this a classroom for everyone, not just those school-age children that we saw, for scientists and universities everywhere.
I hope they don't feel like it's a forgotten fire, given how many mega fires happened right after.
2020.
Yep, exactly.
So many.
Mark, thank you. With Congress unable to pass anything due to Republicans' inability to select a House Speaker, new pick today, he lasted a couple of hours before far-right holdouts forced him to pull out of the race. The Colorado Republican Party had directed the 3 GOP members in the House to oppose Tom Emmert for Speaker. It appears all 3 defied the Colorado Republican Party. Multiple reports indicate that Ken Buck, Lauren Boebert, and Doug Lamborn all supported Emmert in the closed-door vote. But there were a few dozen fringe members who would not back Emmert because he voted to certify the 2020 election. Emmert is the man that Ken Buck voted for repeatedly after Buck helped to oust former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, kicking off all this chaos. Buck has leveraged that rebel status for near constant cable TV news appearances. He's considering leaving Congress for a talking head gig on cable. So that's where he was asked today about the latest developments.
What is going on with your party that a person who does the constitutional thing by certifying a vote that somebody won fair and square can't be the speaker?
Well, I'll tell you, I certified the vote also. I don't want to be speaker.
So if it can't be Emmer, can't be Scalise, can't be Jordan, can't be McCarthy, who can it be?
It can't be Buck. I think we go back to the drawing board and figure out who the next person up is.
Oh, don't pick me. Whatever you do, don't pick me. I don't know. There's part of me that thinks that Ken Buck is playing this elaborate long game, hoping that Ken Buck gets elected speaker. But another part of me is convinced that he is absolutely done with that place and would not serve as speaker if elected, and he would just leave that chair for a seat on CNN post-haste. Club Q, nearly a year after that mass shooting, is going to reopen an LGBTQ space in the Springs, but with a new name in a new location. In November of last year, shooter killed 5 people, injured 25 others at that club in Colorado Springs, and it's been closed since. The operations team now says they are ready to reopen. It'll be a new venue inside the Satellite Hotel in the Springs, about 4 miles from the original location. The new venue will be called The Q by Club Q. Management said they hope that reopening sends a message that hate will not win. Love will always prevail. The old location is going to remain empty for now. Management says there is going to be some kind of permanent memorial that's constructed nearby.
What's your backup plan?
Well, I'm for, again, whatever they can produce.
Whatever they can produce, says the governor, as if he is a complete spectator on what happens with your property taxes. And a look at a job training program that focuses on a fresh start with fresher ingredients. Next. So what will happen if Coloradans reject Prop HH? That's the Democrats' property tax measure on the ballot. Governor Jared Polis won't say what will happen. The governor won't commit to whether or not he would call a special legislative session for property tax relief if voters turn down his preferred solution. In the 9 News debate last night, in partnership with the Denver Gazette, Polis debated conservative strategist Michael Fields on Prop HH, with a key disagreement being whether the legislature should deal with skyrocketing property taxes or whether voters should pass the Democrats' plan that they put on the ballot, the one that raised Tabor refunds to come up with the money. Republicans have called on the governor to bring the legislature back to talk about this. Polis would not commit to that last night. He says if Prop HH doesn't pass, well, he's not sure what the legislature could come up with. That is a pretty baffling statement considering that Polis and Democrats hold a historic majority at the Capitol.
There's no way a Republican or Democratic legislature is going to do $13 billion in property tax rate relief.
Let me ask it another way. What's your backup plan?
Well, I'm for, again, whatever they can produce. And I mean, I hope you come along with 20 Democrats supporting your thing.
Do you really not have a backup plan for if Prop HH fails?
Whatever can pass. I'm for whatever can pass the legislature. But it's better to build off of HH and do more relief than to be back to square one and try to come up with a few hundred million.
I've never heard a governor who had his party was in control of the legislature,
right.
And he said whatever can pass.
Last night's Prop HH debate was really more interesting than you would think for tax policy, I promise. It was masterfully moderated by Marshall Zellinger, and it really cut through a lot of the noise and misinformation on this issue. I heard via email and social media from a bunch of voters who said that watching it really helped them understand the issue, helped them clarify their position on HH. So we're going to re-air that debate Saturday at 7 p.m. on KTVD. It is available to stream anytime on 9 News Plus or on the 9 News YouTube channel. Maybe, Danielle Grant, people want to curl up this weekend with some hot cocoa and a little Prop HH debate because, hold on, everybody.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah. We're talking snow. And we're really excited about it because we haven't seen any so far this season here in Denver. I know the mountains, they've been treated to a bit more snowfall around here. We'll get a little, but yes, it could be our first of the season. Tonight, looking a little murky across downtown Denver, but hey, that sunset in the distance, once again, going to be really spectacular with these clouds around. We do have a few scattered showers across south central Colorado, just a couple, enough to have to flip on the windshield wipers, but that's going to be about it. A few pushing across the metro area as we speak. Here we are at 7 o'clock, everything's skirting off to the north and to the east, and by about 10 p.m., we still have a few clouds here in the city, but those should be gone before you know it. Tomorrow morning, a little bit of patchy fog, but it won't hang on long. The sunshine returns by the afternoon and temperatures will be a little bit warmer tomorrow for us too. A quick little ridge rolls in and that's going to allow our numbers to soar back into the lower 70s. Really a beautiful afternoon for the metro area with 50s and 60s way up high. But let's get to the good stuff. That's the weekend, and that's a couple of storms that are setting its sights on Colorado. Right now it looks like a rain snow mix late Saturday night. Those first flurries of the season on Sunday. Perfect football weather, and whew, it's going to be cold down to the teens early Monday morning.
One of our sayings that we say is there's more on the menu than just food.
A culinary training program is on a mission to prove that everybody belongs in the kitchen. And just when you thought the Denver airport couldn't get creepier, these guys are back. The gargoyles. I mean grotesques. They are grotesques. They are not gargoyles. I will not make that mistake on air again. Next. I want to introduce you to a job training program in our community that goes beyond the basics. It fills bellies and minds and heals bodies fighting past addiction. Our Brian Wendland shows us Chef.
This is stuff I love, watching these guys go from where they started to where they're at, you know, I mean, in skills, it's pretty awesome, it's powerful.
Jeff Cook has the experience needed to get students into commercial kitchens. But a different kind of experience inspired him to co-found this nonprofit, Chef.
Yeah, I have over 23 years of recovery, and I'm here to show these guys that you don't have to be involved in the lifestyle of addiction to be in the restaurant industry.
Here, students learn basic cooking techniques. They also have a peer recovery coach, Cheyenne Dynas.
I've had quite a bit of experience with addiction myself and with being in recovery, and I'm just glad to be able to share that with them and watch them on their journey through growth.
After their 1 or 4 week program is up, some students like Tommy Hearn become apprentices.
It's definitely a great atmosphere. Very family oriented, very supportive.
He ended up in a halfway house after a rough couple of years. Now he's a leader.
I like mentoring these new people because they've started where I started and I kind of relate to them. And just watching them grow is really rewarding.
Chefs trained 33 students and 79% found jobs. They've only got a few weeks left at their current location. Now, Cook's team is raising money to open a full-scale student-led restaurant.
It's been a dream to get to this point, and then the next dream is coming. I believe it will become. I just don't know when.
With a new, bigger spot, they could double or triple the number of people they help, giving more students a steady job, helping more people on the road to recovery.
One of our sayings that we say is there's more on the menu than just food. You know, it's about the person, and we truly believe that in our program.
For Next, I'm Brian Wendland.
Chef's goal is to get all their students a new job before they leave their current location. The most Colorado thing we saw today is the return of a weird old friend at the airport. After 5 years gone due to construction at DIA, the baggage claim gargoyles are back. The pair known as Notre Denver. The airport refers to them as gargoyles. I used to do that too, until Next viewers helpfully explained that they're only gargoyles if they're used to direct water away from a building. Otherwise, those sculptures are just called grotesques, or you can call them creepy and awesome. Here comes your feedback, delivered by Next co-creator Aaron Powell for the very last time tonight. We might just have to hold on to feedback. Talk about you next. I want to tell you about a friend of yours that you may not know, a friend of anyone who has watched Next over the last 7 years. This is Aaron Powell's last day with Next and with 9 News. Long before you saw her bringing out feedback at the end of every show, she was the conduit between your conversations online and our conversations on the Next team at the office. As our digital and social media producer, Aaron made sure that what you were talking about was reflected in what we were talking about here. Aaron was a co-creator of Next, here from the beginning, before the beginning, making sure that a show that promised to listen better and to really have conversations with you lived up to that promise. That has meant a lot of long days and long nights, and that is a difficult ask when you have a young family. So now Aaron is off to start a new adventure. I cannot tell you how grateful we are to her. And I bet you are too, because she has built something unique and something lasting for us to share together, this community that we have around Next. Finish with your feedback. Jeanette says, the power of election deniers terrifies me as a person who is proud of living in our democracy. I'm so appreciative of the rights and privileges that we have. Republicans won't like that I read that. Barbara Valenzuela says, last year in August, we received our Tabor checks. We haven't received them this year. That's right, Barbara, because last year they came early as a stunt put together by Democrats right ahead of the election. Well, Democrats won't like that I said that. Well, hopefully you were appreciative for both. See you next time.